Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. We are your hosts, Tyler Callahan and Mike Ferrante. Mike, how you doing this week?
I'm chilling, Tyler. You know me.
Per usual, that's good. It's good. So, this week we do have a new movie to talk about. It's a little different. It's a Netflix movie, but it is called El Camino, and it is the long-awaited Breaking Bad movie. There's been talk about it for a while, and it's gone quiet. It went quiet for most of this year, and then out of the blue, it's coming to Netflix. It dropped last weekend as of this recording, and El Camino is basically the continuation from the end of Breaking Bad, where Jesse Pinkman is trying to escape. Basically, from the aftermath of Breaking Bad, the cops are looking for him as a person of interest, and he needs to get out of New Mexico. So, Mike, what did you think of El Camino?
Well, I think, how do I put this? I think an extended, maybe 90-minute episode epilogue would have been okay. We didn't need a full feature-length film for this.
So I think length was it was a little too long.
For what it was, yes.
Okay.
Like I felt I felt kind of bored throughout it.
Yeah, I didn't find the length of it an issue. I will say that I guess the main difference compared to the show is if you watch all the show, this is like an earlier season type. It's slower.
Yeah.
It does take its time. It's not like season 4 or 5 where shit's going down every other episode. This does take its time to get there.
Yes, and I mean shit does go down in this movie
Yep.
for a split second, and then it's over.
Which I think for this is fine. I think the fact that it is a quieter episode, um,
Movie. It's a movie.
movie,
Oh,
sorry,
see
movie,
what I mean? It
uh,
would have been better as an episode.
it makes sense because if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, we're probably going to be spoiled some of it. But the fact is, most of the cast is gone. Either they left or they're dead.
Yeah.
Basically, Walt, Mike, Hank, his agent buddy, the white supremacists, they're all dead. So there is not much for
Well,
uh
Mike's not,
Mike's dead.
is he?
Yeah. Walt killed
Because
him.
he was in the beginning of the movie, though.
That is in Jesse's head. Or it's a flashback.
Oh.
And if I remember correctly, that's where he died, or close to it.
Okay, so it's a flashback.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
a
I meant.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, for Vince Gilligan, who made Breaking Bad, he had an idea for this movie, wrote and directed it. He actually didn't have a lot of current characters to play with. So personally, I did like how he was able to intertwine how Jesse was being tortured and held captive for 6 months into the story.
Yeah. I mean, that part was fine. Like, I like that they kind of showed that Jesse had PTSD. And they showed it pretty well, but like him getting to his destination took a little bit too long. Like it kind of dragged on.
I feel the one scene that did drag on a little bit was when he first meets the vacuum cleaner guy.
Yeah,
Like I felt that could have been shortened by a few minutes, but I don't think it's too long because that's the entire point of the movie is like him getting out. It is the end goal. So it would make sense that once he gets to where he needs to go, the movie's over.
yeah. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like I'm okay with the movie being 2 hours long, but I kind of
Mhm.
want to be interested in that 2 hours. Like I only really was interested in like the last quarter of the movie. Everything else to me kind of dragged on.
All right, I understand, but on this one, I am going to have to disagree with you. I mean, from right from the beginning, I was interested the entire way. How his friends helped him, the PTSD he had, the when he's looking for the money, all of it entertained me, and I was like, I'm not gonna say it's great. It's not an amazing movie, but it's a solid, good movie, and it builds upon Breaking Bad's ending. The one thing I was worried about is that it would ruin it, but it didn't.
No, it didn't ruin it. It kind of left it off on a good note. I will say that the ending of this movie really solidified the ending of the show. It kind of gave us somewhat of a
Yes.
happy ending. So I will give credit to where credit's due. I mean, the acting in it's really good. Don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad movie. For me, it was just a little uninteresting.
Nice, man. I mean, yeah, Aaron Paul, killed it again as Jesse Pinkman. I mean, that is his main role. Like that's what he'll be known for.
Yeah,
He was able to just slip right into it and become Jesse Pinkman. The guy who plays Todd, he's still good because fuck Todd.
and skinny.
Yes, Skinny Pete, good solid friend. If I had another issue I had with the movie is I would have liked to see Saul again in a flashback. Now I know we have Better Call Saul, so but all that, but like last I remember, Jesse and Saul did not have a good meeting. So I would have liked to see a happier memory with them.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because if I remember right, the last time they interacted in the last season was Jesse breaking into his office and beating the shit out of him because he was helping Walt. So if that's the last memory they have, I would have liked for Jesse to think about something else other than that.
Yeah, but at the same time, it also makes sense that he doesn't because in his mind, Saul still kind of backstabbed him.
No, that's true. Like he always looked up to Mike as a mentor, kind of. So obviously he would have a memory of him, and then obviously his time with Walt, there'd be a quick one.
Yeah, because Walt was, even though they had their differences, Walt's the reason why. He had a good life and also didn't.
Speaking of Walt, two things about Walt. The We do get a Walt flashback toward the end of the movie. It's always been hinted. I've noticed in interviews like, oh yeah, well we had to get someone real secret, like private plane, jet in, jet out one day. It's like, well, you know who that is, right? You don't
Yeah.
want that spoiled. But I gotta say, I had a big ass grin on my face when he came out of the hotel room and they were walking down. Like I knew it was coming, but I was so happy seeing it. It's like one more time. To be more serious about it, this movie also helps develop Walt's character just a little bit more, I think. When he gives his speech at the end, talking to Jesse about what does he want to do in the future, he
Yeah.
mentions that at least you didn't have to wait your entire life to do something special. Jesse still has his life after the meth business,
Yeah.
but this does explain why Walt, over time, was less for doing it for me and the family to just doing it for him because he was so damn good at it. And what he wasn't addicted to the meth, but he was addicted to the process.
He was addicted to the status it gave him.
Yep, like it's not all legal status, but any other drug dealer knows him, fears him. He's got respect, power, money,
Yep.
and he found his calling in life a bit, 15, 20 years late.
It's true.
So while this is Jesse's movie through and through, and it gives him a satisfying ending, Vince Gilligan was able to actually add a little more detail to Walt's character, which I appreciated.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
I think the only thing left now for this Breaking Bad universe is Better Call Saul, which I think only has another season or two. So hopefully we'll see what happens to Saul by the end of that show.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I wonder if he still manages that Cinnabon by the end of it. Mike, do you have any thoughts about El Camino? Any more thoughts? Did you have any other negatives about the movie, or was there anything else that stood out to you?
The thing that I enjoyed thoroughly was the Western shootout they had.
Yes,
That
it
was
was,
by far my favorite part of the movie.
and I like
Because,
Jesse's trick at it too.
yes, because when Jesse shows the gun that he walked in there with, I was looking at it, I was like, that's not the gun he grabbed from the safe, though.
Well, there was two, wasn't there?
I only saw one,
No, he grabbed
and it
two. He had
was,
one in each hand.
oh, I didn't pay attention then. I only saw the revolver.
Yeah, no, he brought out two guns. But then you're right. Like when he shows up, he's only flaunting the one gun.
Correct. So when he shows that 22 he was holding, I was like, wait, where's the other gun? And then when it was the whole Western shootout, that was just, I was like, all right, yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
know
that
how
shootout
he didn't get
was
shot
really good.
throughout that process because that guy's partner, I feel like he would have been able to hit Jesse, but he didn't.
No, he didn't. I mean, I guess you could say because that's the thing too. It's like there was a lot of shots fired and no one got hit toward the end.
Yeah, like at all.
But you could say he was on a bunch of drugs
Yeah,
and his shooting could have been off.
he was on cocaine. I feel like his shooting would be on,
Maybe, or
but who
maybe he
knows?
panicked because he just saw his partner get shot to
That's
death.
true. So, I mean, think about this. Scarface, did he miss any shots?
Okay, fair point. But I mean, the only one that had any brains in that group was the guy that got killed first.
That's true.
He's the only one that even had any respect for Jesse as well.
That is true.
Yeah,
But
another
that's
quick thing I liked was the cinematography, very similar to Breaking Bad, which is good. This is something I noticed a lot of time lapse shots of the city in keeping with the show. When the first cop, the one that you're talking about, when he finds Jesse hiding, the
yeah,
way the camera angle is with the gun and then his head popping out, very similar to when he kills Gale back in the show. So very nice how they kept it similar to the show. It's not like, oh, it's a movie, we're gonna do a completely different style. It could easily just fit right in.
it's true. That's why I feel like it would have been a better 90-minute episode. You could have cut out some other stuff that wasn't really needed.
No, I mean, you're right. If they extended the last season to 2 to 3 episodes, and this was that as a wrap up, and maybe see how other characters are dealing, that could have been fine. There'd be no need for the movie.
Yep.
But Mike,
But
if anyone else has thoughts about El Camino, good or bad, where can they let us know?
well, before I let you in on where you can tell us your thoughts, Tyler, I have to
Yeah.
ask you, would you recommend this movie?
Oh my God, I forgot. I forgot to ask. Thank you for catching that.
Of course.
Would I recommend watching this movie? This is going to be basically the same thing as about Rambo. It's a definite yes if you watch Breaking Bad. Now you can watch this movie without having seen Breaking Bad, but you'll have no idea what's happening. And the emotional strings, you'll feel a lot more emotional if you watch the show and then watch the movie. Good news for you is the entire show's on Netflix, so just watch it first.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that 100%.
All right.
But
So
now to the nitty gritty. If anyone else has their thoughts or feels like they need to input something, pick up where we left off, feel free to hit us up at entertainmentexpansion@outlook.com or direct message us, leave a comment on our last post on our Instagram page, which is labeled Entertainment Expansion. And if none of that tickles your fancy, come on down to our YouTube channel, Entertainment Expansion. We got a whole lot of stuff there that I think you're going to like, so check it out.
yeah, we're starting to build up, I think, a great collection of episodes and topics we've done for movies. I think definitely the past month we've had a very wide taste of movie selections, and we aim to keep that going. But that is it for this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.